Today's episode is brought to you by Donor Perfect fundraising software, where empowering nonprofits to succeed isn't just a mission, it's what matters most. Donor Perfect is excited to introduce a resource that's as bold and inspiring as the women leading the change in nonprofit organizations, the Nonprofit Leadership Workbook for Women. This free ebook is designed to help you define your leadership vision, refine your goals, and unlock your potential, whether you're just starting your nonprofit career or looking to level up your impact. Packed with actionable insights, expert advice, and empowering exercises, it's your go-to guide for navigating challenges and amplifying your voice. It's time to step into the leader you're meant to be. Download the Nonprofit Leadership Workbook for Women for free at donorperfect.com/workbook and take your leadership to the next level. All right, my friends, welcome to our roughly 20-25 minute deep dive into financial wellness. Listen, y'all, I'm not a financial expert at all, but I have definitely been on the what in the whole end of financial dis-ease. If this is the first time you are listening, tuning in, watching, I'm Kashana Palmer, CEO of Management, author of Busy is a 4-letter word, a guide to achieving more by doing less. And I help everyday leaders just like you live well so that you can lead well. And today we're going to talk about money, honey. But don't worry. It's going to be more fun than balancing your checkbook. And for those of y'all like checkbook, listen, friends, I had to actually write a check for a meeting I had to go to for one of my social organizations. And I was like, literally, I tore this whole house down looking for my checkbook, my friends. I want you to picture this. You're sitting at your desk, buried under sticky notes. Your phone won't stop buzzing with notifications. And that little voice in your head is asking, was that $6 latte really essential? My answer typically is yes. I just want you to know. Sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? Is it just me? Well, listen, friend, lean in, okay? Because today I'm going to break down the toxic relationship between busyness and your bank account. Maybe it's busyness in my bank account, but either way, I'm going to tell you all my business. So, whether you are a money maven or you are a budget phobe, this episode is for you. Together, we're going to talk about building better habits and breaking free from money guilt. And of course, how to make savings feel like it's as satisfying as your morning cup of coffee. No? Maybe? I think we can do that. All right, let's get started. So, cash rules everything around me. Okay, first of all, it's not just because I love Wu-Tang. I just want y'all to know. Actually, when I was in middle school, one of my friends gave me the nickname Cash. And it was because I always knew how to get money. Okay? I was a kid that was figuring out how to earn money before we had our working papers. I was hustling between who had to get homework and who didn't need to get homework. And I was not getting to do homework for free. I was going to get paid to do somebody else's homework. But that's another story for another day. Okay. I was industrious. Let's just say that. But money mavens, let's start with the real talk. There is an elephant in the room for many of us, and surprise, surprise, it is money. So there's this thing that I think about called the busyness bank account trap. We are all guilty of falling into the busyness trap. And you know what I'm talking about, right? Where you equate being busy with being successful. And so here's the hard truth. Being busy does not mean you're making bank. Shout out to all my speakers that are speaking on stages and not getting paid. You might be busy though, but are you getting paid though? So let's think about it. When we're constantly rushing, we're more likely to make convenience purchases. Think about grabbing the pricey pre-cut veggies at the store instead of chopping them yourself. Or ordering takeout because cooking feels like another task on the endless to-do list. I'm even doing that tonight, y'all. I just want you to know, okay? But it was planned because in my house, we have a calendar in the kitchen that we write out the menu every week. And one of those days every week is takeout. Typically, it's Friday. That's a throwback from growing up where we didn't cook on Friday evenings. But on today, which is not a Friday, we're getting our takeout, okay? Because mama does not feel like cooking. But, you know, these splurges, these little splurges, they might seem harmless. They might seem harmless. But my friends, they add up fast. So breaking the busy equals rich myth. So I want to just kind of break this up. Here's the kicker. Working yourself to the bone does not guarantee wealth. How many of us know someone who worked until the day they were in the ground and they got nothing to show for it? Hustle culture might tell you otherwise. That conference that you signed up for, that mastermind that you wanted to join, that friend that you sort of lightweight kind of sort of are jealous of and sort of like hate a little bit, who always seems to be going places, doing things and doing the most. That entrepreneur who seemed to keep talking about how they hit 7 figures, blah, 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 blah. Hustle culture might tell you otherwise, but real wealth comes from working smarter, not harder. And I know that there are lots of strategies around how to build wealth, right? But we have equated wealth only to cash. And there are lots of ways to build wealth. Again, I probably need to have an expert on to talk to me about it. So recommend some folks to me that I should talk to about this so we can dig in a later episode. But the trick for this little episode is to make your money work for you, not the other way around, which we'll talk about later. So let's think about financial fabulousness 101. What can you do instead? Okay. Now me, I have a money coach. Okay. Shout out to Angela. She is amazing. Does all of the things to ensure that you actually build wealth, and you do that with ease. But everybody doesn't have Angela in their back pocket. You should though. Okay. I'm gonna drop her in the show notes. So what can you do if you don't have Angela? You have to start with realistic financial goals. What are you saving for and why? One of the biggest shifts that I was able to make in my mind and then in actuality is to move from having a budget to a spending plan. So instead of saying I don't have the money or that's not in my budget, I started to say that's not in my spending plan. I'm all about taking that power back, having that agency in the little things that you do every day that add up to those big things. And so for me, being able to say my spending plan, I just felt more powerful than saying my budget. I want you to think about practicing mindful spending. Every dollar should have a purpose. And I know when I am spending mindlessly, when stuff shows up in them brown boxes from the brown man in the brown uniform, and I'm like, what was that again? And I gotta go look at the order to see what I ordered. Ooh. I know I'm not the only one who does that, okay? So judge me if you want to. But really actioning that every dollar should have a purpose means that you have a plan for your money. Back to my spending plan. And remember, feeling financially fabulous, it doesn't mean breaking the bank. Sometimes treating yourself to that $2 face mask from the drugstore is way more satisfying than that designer handbag. And that's saying a lot, because I love me a good designer bag, baby. Let me tell you. And I have since I was a kid, okay? Back when my mama would come home with a Dooney and Burke, or a Coach bag, coveted. And y'all, when I worked for Coach in grad school, I want y'all to know that was one of my favorite jobs in all the world. It's when I realized I really love fashion, because I didn't have to take none of those bags home. I just like being with the bags. I like being in the store with the bags. I like helping people with the bags. I like helping the men that came in the stores in a panic around Valentine's Day and spent thousands of dollars because they waited until the last minute and they did not get their wife, girlfriend, mistress, whomever, the thing that they actually had on their list. So they bought everything. It was amazing. I digress. I gotta confess. It's time for me to tell y'all yet another layer of my business. I'm gonna confess. I used to be a total money martyr, okay? I thought that my work and my self-worth were measured by how much money I was bringing in. Now, mind you, I didn't brag about how much money I was bringing in, friends, because, you know, I have more autopsy than that, okay? My mother raised me right. We didn't talk about the money that came in the door. But you could see it in the stuff that I had. You could see it in the quality of the things that I had, or the perceived quality. And spoiler alert, like, actually, the more that I spent, the lower my self-worth was. Shoot. There was a turning point for me when I looked at my bank account and I realized, yo, I'm not happy, man. The amount of money in my account wasn't making me happy. The lack of money in my account wasn't making me happy. So money isn't what's making me happy. And I had to kind of reset myself and go, wait a minute, money is a tool. And so right now I'm using money like a hatchet when I really need to be using it as a precision scalpel. And the fact that I was just being reckless, just blah, blah, everywhere, it was bringing me so much stress. So that's when I went to financial therapy the first time. And I said the first time because I have gone more than once because y'all, I would self-soothe and I still do sometimes by purchasing things. So my fiance always knows when I'm stressed all the way out, when there's packages that just start arriving. He's like, ma'am, what is happening? So yeah, financial therapy is a thing. I started unpacking my toxic money habits and I started to separate my self-esteem from my financial status. Now, my bank account and I are now currently in couples therapy. I said it's a work in process, my friends. And it's going great. I'm not out the woods yet. But after years of the pendulum swinging back and forth, I'm on my way to a healthier, happier relationship with money, and you can too. Financial wellness is a critical component to all the other aspects of your wellness and well-being. So I want to get into that. But before I do, let's talk about some fun stuff. Okay, I want to make savings sexy. As my best friend would say, sassy. Let's talk about it. I think that it really can be fun. But first, we need to get rid of some myths that we have. So thing one, and this is a myth I had, saving is boring. Like, meh. Saving isn't boring when you have a clear vision and a goal for your money, which is back to why you need a spending plan. One of the things that Angela taught me was that I had to visualize my money like a friend. So I have in my bathroom right now, I have the chart that I made, basically my affirmations, that my money is my friend. I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to treat her right. Scared money don't make money. These are things I actually have. Because I had to visualize the dream vacation, the early retirement, the finishing the basement so that I could have a fully built out studio. I had to visualize the things that I wanted because if I didn't do that, it wasn't exciting. But once I knew that I had a goal that I could really focus on, I realized that I actually had purpose, and having purpose was important. And let's not forget about the thrill of watching my savings grow. There is something about that, but it's something I actually really struggle with because I was in survival mode for so long. And the idea of actually saving money for a vacation or something I want, it seemed crazy to me. I would just do it and be like, yeah, I'll figure it out later. You know, back to earlier me saying that I sometimes spend money like a drug dealer. Ooh, okay. I was like, I'll just make it back. And that is not always healthy, right? So I learned to make it fun by creating vision boards and visual reminders of what I'm working towards. And that helped me to stay the course. Okay, myth 2. You have to save big. Actually, every little bit counts. Don't think you can save only if you have a large chunk of change to put away. Like that was something that I really hung on to for a long time. And so I was like, well, I don't really have nothing. So I'm just leave it right here and then I'm gonna spend it. And then so it's done. And that's something I teach the Queenager now, that small, consistent savings adds up over time. So for me, it was simple, starting with $20 a week and then watching my savings grow. And then I made a little nice thing for myself. Like I am a big kid at heart, y'all. So I still have my little piggy bank. It actually is a pig and it has wings and it says when pigs fly. Okay. And I treat myself along the way. Small luxuries, okay, friends? And so my little fancy pens, okay, if y'all are listening now, I just pulled out my flamingo pen that I have that I love so much. Or other little things that just bring me just like these small, like bursts of joy. And I get my nails done. Like, just want y'all to know that is my treat. It is my necessity. It is my bill. Judge your mama, okay? And I have been following my friend Angela's advice about starting small, not just with budgeting and saving, but with investing. And actually have started to really focus on investing in companies that I care about, that have values that align with mine, which I think is a tall order in this day and age, and into investment vehicles that will build wealth for me and for my family. Myth 3, savings means sacrificing. Sacrificing your daily coffee fix or skipping brunch with friends to save money, not necessarily that. Ugh. Feels like easy advice, also feels like I want to throw up in my mouth, so I'm not even going to say that. It's about finding balance. So if you enjoy these things, I want you to really consider making room for them in your budget. Setting aside a treat yourself fund so that you can still indulge without feeling guilty. For me, that's been a win-win. You might not work, that might not work for you. You might think, Sean, I got to do something a little bit remix, but that's the whole point about creating a financial wellness and well-being plan that sits in your 5-star wellness plan that works for you. I'm just giving you some tools to get your mind working, to get your imagination going. The key to making savings sexy for me is automation. Setting up automatic transfers from my checking account to my savings whenever I get paid. That way, I don't even have to think about it. Because when I do have to think about it, I do think about it. And I would much rather get this new LV coin purse than I would put it in savings. And that's just my story, and I'm sticking to it and minding my business. But either way, the satisfaction of watching my savings grow without even lifting a finger, now that has been super cool.
And now, a word from our sponsors at Donor Perfect Fundraising Software, the trusted partner that empowers nonprofits to do more good with less stress. Your mission deserves more than just a tool. It deserves a system that simplifies your daily tasks, keeps your team on the same page, and helps you raise more to make a bigger impact. That's where Donor Perfect comes in. From donor management to online giving, reporting to planning, Donor Perfect has everything you need to streamline operations and grow your community of supporters. Plus, their expert resources help you stay ahead of fundraising trends so you're always ready for what's next. Why wait? Head over to donorperfect.com/start and see how Donor Perfect can help you achieve more faster with confidence.
So I talked a little bit about building better habits, but I want us to also think about breaking free from money guilt and then building mindful habits. That to me, if I had to think about a word that really sort of encapsulates everything in our 5-star wellness plan and creating one for yourself, it is about being mindful. Being mindful with our money means paying attention to where our dollars are going and making intentional choices with them. It's not just about making your money plan, because for me, again, budgeting feels restrictive and boring, but it's actually about being empowered to design a life that works for you. So by creating a money plan, we're telling our money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Because I promise you, the other day I looked at my account and was like, what the hell? And I was like, I let 3 days go without looking at my money. I neglected her again. It also allows us to see where we might be overspending so that we can make changes accordingly. And then it allows you to kind of shift away from sort of like the evil of money, of which the people are evil, not the money. Y'all, money's a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool. But being able to practice gratitude with money. We often focus on what we don't have instead of being grateful for what we do have. And one of the things that I learned is when I started to focus on what I didn't have multiplied. It just became harder to do everything. So I had to shift gears and focus on what I did have. Focus on the fact that I could make decisions that could turn my life on a dime in the best way. And that at every opportunity, I needed to be able to focus on the moment, reflecting on the abundance in my life, whether it's a roof over your head or a steady income or the fact that you're partnered and you don't have to necessarily work in the way you did when you were single or anything in between. And then let that gratitude be the undercurrent of your financial decisions. I find that when we appreciate what we have, we're less likely to spend recklessly or compare ourselves to others. And comparison is a thief to my pocketbook, okay? Because let me tell you something. I rock out with some high powered women. You hear me? Some ballers, some movers and shakers. Power in every sector. And there are times if I do not stay present to who I am and whose I am, that I allow comparison to drag me into some terrible ass money decisions. I have definitely overspent in the Fendi store a time or two in my past. Not now, y'all, because I'm going to give it up. I gave it up. Because I wanted to be in the mix. And that did nothing but make me mixed up. Okay? And they didn't care. So I was doing it for what again? No. So I had to learn the power of saying no. Okay? Which for me, I don't want to tell myself no because I've gotten a lot of no's in my life. So I want to be the one yes. But the reality is you have to learn to tell yourself no. And I'm saying this out loud because I'm talking to myself because there's something I want to buy. And it's not impulsive. It's been on my mind for weeks. But I really know I don't need it. Okay? I just want it. So that means no to impulsive purchases because it does not protect my peace. It rocks my peace. It ups my anxiety. It makes me have panic attacks. It makes me worry. It makes me make decisions around clients to take on or business to go after or partnerships that I may not entertain when my mind is right and my money is right because my mind is not right and the money is off. No to keeping up with the Joneses. And no to financial decisions that don't align with your goals and your values. And if you are not writing down your goals and you are not clear on your values, baby, you have just gotten on a runaway train and you will be financially unwell. How do I know? I've been there a time or two. I don't really want to go back. Remember that saying no now means saying yes to a financially stable future. And delayed gratification is hard as hell for me. I want y'all to know I want Kool-Aid gratification. Just mix and stir. And the reality is there are a lot more things that are like crock pots. And I just got to be grateful for the moments where I had to crock pot it and I didn't walk it. You like that, y'all? I went from Kool-Aid to crock pots to woks and back again. I'm just telling y'all. I'm kind of fly with that. Also might be a little hungry. Either way. Financial wellness and well-being is really about taking control of how you design your life and how you leverage tools like money to be able to ensure that you're well. Because let's face it, when your money ain't right, your mind's not right. When your money is not right, your body is not right. You're off. When your money's not right, your community's off because you hide. And we're going to talk about that in another episode. So all of these things are connected together. They're interconnected. And we have to recognize that if we want to ensure that we design a life where we're well. Listen, y'all, I could talk about that all day, but I promise you, we really need to have an expert. I'm going to have Angela come on. And thankfully, I have some really, really, really dope friends who live this, breathe this every day and keep me on point because, baby, I would be a wayward soul. But that's all the time we have today, my friends. The conversation does not have to end here, and I don't want it to. And so I encourage you to start talking about money with your friends and family. I think that's one of the biggest things we don't do. It's taboo. We're not going to talk about money. But we've got to be able to demystify it. We have to be able to explore the relationship we have with money. We've got to be willing to seek out resources, whether they're books or podcasts or shows on personal finance, on investing, on right-siding your money behavior, because we all have a money story. And most importantly, you got to be kind to yourself on your journey toward financial wellness. For some of us, this is a hard-ass journey. We are in these struggle streets and we want out. Remember, being busy doesn't equal financial success. And making smart choices with our money can lead us down the pathway to success. This performance is costing you more than just your sanity. It comes with what I lovingly call the busy tax. Every time you rush through life, you're more likely to overspend. Maybe it's a last-minute Uber when walking would have been just fine. Maybe it's a rushed grocery store run where you buy stuff you don't even need. But my friends, busy doesn't equal productive, okay? Sometimes the best investment that you can make is slowing all the way down and finding new ways to spend and save intentionally. Okay, so one of my besties was real fired up about the FIRE movement. I like that. Fire 2 times in a sentence. So here's my question. The FIRE movement, hot or not? Okay. That's financial independence, retire early. For those of y'all who do not know what that is, and because I surely didn't. And that is living off extreme savings and early investing. Sounds dreamy, right? But is it realistic for everyone? So here's the tea. The pros: FIRE gives you freedom, flexibility, and the ability to live life on your own terms. The cons: extreme savings isn't always sustainable, and obsessing over spreadsheets can quickly lead to burnout. Honestly, y'all, if I had to be watching every single penny, actually, pause. There was a period of my life that I had to do that. It was when I first left grad school, and we were looking at every single dollar to the pence y'all, that thing stressed me out so bad. So instead of going full throttle, maybe for you, the goal isn't retiring at 35 or 45 or 55, but creating financial independence on your terms. And I think that's something that's really important. So for those of y'all who have tried the FIRE method, who are part of the FIRE movement, I'm curious to hear, the pros and cons from your perspective. But when she was describing, how to do it to me, her face was all lit up and she was super excited. And I just felt like I was drowning slowly in a tablespoon of water. And I was just like, oh, that's not going to be me. I got to figure out another way to get to this wellness mountaintop that I know I can get to. Fun fact, y'all, it ain't really a mountaintop. Okay. It's a journey, a windy path, if you will. But it does not have to be filled with, booby traps and with sudden drop-offs on cliffs if you're paying attention. Okay. So, as you know, I have a challenge. This time it's my money mindfulness challenge. So it's not a fitness challenge, y'all, okay? But we've done a little challenge pretty much every episode. So let's try this one. I dare you to track every single penny you spend for 1 week. And I'm going to do it with you. So I want you to choose a method that works for you. Maybe it's an app, and I use an app, a spreadsheet, or old school pen and paper, okay? Because honestly, I feel like sometimes that's the most accurate, but here we are. I want you to be brutally honest. No judgment here. Remember, y'all, we listen and we don't judge. And then I want you to look for patterns. Are you spending too much on convenience because you're stretched too thin? You're exhausted? You don't have time? Awareness is the first step to change. The big step that you take after that is deciding. We've talked about this many times. So once you've got the data, you can make a money plan for yourself and adjustments to that money plan that'll actually stick, because you're seeing what you're doing in real time. And it also can say, where's my mental health in this moment? It's a little off. You can tell in the money. Speaking of, because there's a mental health money connection. And I would be remiss to talk about financial wellness and to not bring it back to mental health at least one good time. I've learned the hard way. And y'all, can I just say for the record, why do I learn everything the hard way? It's really annoying. I've learned the hard way that financial stress impacts everything from your emotional well-being to your relationships. But when you take control of your money, woo, baby, it is a mental game changer. Good financial habits help reduce stress, they improve your emotional well-being, and they contribute to long-term cognitive health. It's not just about money, it's about building the life you want to live. And that includes being well. Okay, my friends, we've covered a lot today. From breaking free from busy cosplay to exploring your relationship with money. I hope you're feeling empowered to take the next step in your financial wellness journey. I really do. Because I want you to remember that financial wellness isn't about having a fat bank account. It's about creating a healthy relationship with money that supports your happiness and your overall well-being. So if today's episode sparked something for you, here's my challenge. start exploring your relationship with money. And if you want to dig deeper, subscribe to my newsletter, The K Train, for even more tips and resources. Until next time, I'm Kashana Palmer, reminding you that you are worth more than your bank account. You are worth more than your paycheck. And baby, you are worth more than your fly-ass car. You don't need it. But in the meantime, stay fabulous and make it rain, friends. Into your savings, of course. Be well.